So in this video, I'm going to describe my experience completing the 4x4x48 challenge by David Goggins. So if you're unfamiliar with this challenge, just do a quick search of 4x4x48 or David Goggins. It should pop up. This is I think, annual or biannual kind of challenge that he promotes that has some great charity benefits behind it. It raises some awareness, raises money, and also gets people out active and challenging themselves. So why did I decide to do this? I heard a friend mention it and said he was thinking about doing it, and we both, looked into it and said, man, that's way too crazy. So the overall premise of the challenge is you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours repeating. No breaks in between. If you do your run in 2 hours, then you have a 2-hour gap before your next run starts. If it takes you 4 hours to run, then you have to start immediately following, which is plenty of time. So he also suggests you can do this in any form that you're able to, whether it's just walking, biking, running. I think he lists anything else, rowing, etc. So I decided to do this just as a personal challenge. I had not been training any cardio. I do go to the gym doing some weightlifting, but zero cardio, zero running, anything like that. So I thought it'd be a great challenge just to say, hey, let's go for it. Let's do it. At the bare minimum, we know we should be able to walk to get through this thing. So starting out, the first few 4-mile loops was just what you would expect. Anybody should be able to go out and at least walk, jog, or run 4 miles. You take your break. We were doing that in under 1 hour, and then get ready for your next round. So really the challenge didn't even start until the halfway point. That's when it really hit us almost like a wall, dead on, right about the 24-hour window. So of course we had our meals planned out. I had prepped, healthy meals that I knew I'd be able to quickly microwave and heat up in between our intervals, and then obviously allowing some time to sleep. I think we didn't end up sleeping, but maybe 4 hours total the first 24-hour window, maybe less. So keep in mind, I had zero running experience prior to this, at least for several years prior. I had run quite a bit back, years ago, but not anything at least about a year to this point. So starting out, we did, run about half of the 4-mile loop, and then we walk in the remaining 2 miles. So we continued this pattern for about half of the challenge. Like I said, once we hit the halfway point, it really hit us like a wall, and we ended up having to walk at that point. So I know it sounds, it's so easy to go out and walk 4 miles, that's no big deal, but it was really intense at that point. Your body had no rest. The pains and the aches in your joints, especially I found in my feet and my ankle joint around the calves and the shins, really started to flare up. I would assume just from the abnormal usage and minimal resting. So some strategies we used to get through this was really breaking it into simpler steps. So each time you went out, you knew you had a 4-mile loop to complete. The main thing we would focus on is just getting that first 100 yards warmed back up after getting off the couch and getting back out there, getting our joints warmed up and just getting some movement going. Then our focus would be hitting the 2-mile point, because this would be our turnaround spot where we would then come back to the house. So by focusing just on these smaller breakout goals within the overall 4-mile loop, within the overall challenge, I believe is really a key. And of course that could apply to any area of life. To goal setting, you often hear set the larger goal, then break it down into smaller actionable pieces to achieve that. So it's the same situation for this case. So by using this, and then the concept of just one step at a time, as oversaid as that is, it's very true. Just focus on your next step forward, taking that progress, just moving. Don't get overwhelmed by the whole end goal. Another trick I use often in endurance challenges like this is really kind of staying in my head and tricking myself in a way of ignoring the pain and really focusing on my mental space. If I just think, sure, my legs, my ankles, everything's on fire, really, really hurting, blisters, my feet are all wrapped up, but I'm just thinking in my head how I feel. In my head, feels good. It's not beat up. I'm thinking, my brain's functioning, so I try to use that little trick, if that makes sense, of just staying in that place. Well, okay, I'm good, I'm thinking, I'm going, I'm strong. Just words of affirmations. So, not allowing the negative thoughts and all the pain and everything to build up and start to consume you. You really got to be able to beat that in your mind. You got to use your mind to stay above it and not let it catch up. As the pain and everything's increasing over time, sure, it's starting to get more and overwhelming, and you question, can you do this? Can you do that? So you really have to take control of your mind and use that to allow you to keep going. So we did end up completing the challenge. It did get extremely hard in the second half. Every step, every mile was very painful and took tons and tons of mental focus to just stay on the mission and keep going. The lack of sleep really started to build up at that point. Your body has been extremely drained. But it is possible, and I think it's possible for anybody that is at least able to get up and walk, given your conditions and your medical conditions. If you can get out there and at least walk, you can complete this challenge. So I do look forward to doing this again one day. I think it would be fun to do with a group of people to build some camaraderie. It is 48 hours nonstop, so it's a lot of time to be with people, to talk to them, get to know them. I think it would be kind of interesting to try this in different group settings. If you've completed this, let me know below, and I'd love to hear your feedback.